intent. He wasn't just playing around for the fun of it, for recreational purposes. But they do want to see what exactly did he practice, or where exactly did he practice going to on that simulator. It may or may not help.
So Tom, stay right there, because I want to bring in Joseph Caruso now, too. He's the founder and CEO of Global Digital Forensics, which specializes in computer forensics and data recovery. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
How difficult is it to retrieve such information?
Well, it just depends on the state of the system. Tom makes a good point. If the data is overwritten, it could be very difficult to recover, if impossible. But there is a lot of software, a lot of tools and techniques where you can bring data back even if a file is partially overwritten. Investigators may be able to bring back a lot of that data.
And Tom, I want to ask you about this because everything seems to be pointing in the direction of a criminal investigation now. For example, earlier today, we heard that the onboard computers were reprogrammed 12 minutes before the co-pilot last talked to air traffic controllers when he said, "All right, good night." We know the transponder was shut off. We know from the Thai Air Force that plane made a sharp turn west. We've heard from people on this remote island that a plane was flying very low over the island, and it was quite unusual. And that's in that general vicinity of, if the plane turned west. So all of that kind of points to a criminal investigation, right?
Well, Carol, the criminal investigation's been, it began day one. So, all of that means is that in the media, we go from this idea to that idea. Maybe it's criminal, maybe it's mechanical. But the law enforcement side of this has been intensive on every member of that crew, including the pilots.
I guess
every passenger.
Is it becoming
that's
more
been
clear?
Ongoing.
Is it becoming more clear that this is a criminal investigation with all of these clues?
No, I don't think anything's more clear. What you're saying is today's information, this morning's information, the history of this case has been that tomorrow morning we'll have something else that makes it more clear, and the next day it'll contradict it, and that'll be more clear. I don't think anything's really totally clear. It may be more clear, that's a relative term, but from the investigative standpoint, the criminal investigators do not form all these different theories because they might accidentally steer the investigation to prove themselves right. Everything is, as is said, on the table as a possibility until there really is something that clarifies it, that this is what it had to be. As late as yesterday evening when I was here, you had people saying it could still be mechanical, it could still be a fire, it could still be something else. So that's my point. What is clear is not clear to me.
Gotcha. Okay, Joseph, another question for you. So the Malaysian authorities said this morning that they're taking a closer look at the pilot and the co-pilot, and I'm sure they've been doing that all along. They don't want to say anyone is guilty. They don't want to say that at all. They're just taking a look. So they get this flight simulator, and they're prying data from it. Would that data tell us anything about the psychology of this captain, this pilot?
It certainly could. I think aside from the flight simulator, his home computer, some of the other devices that he had could certainly lead into some insights of what his thought process was, what kind of communications he's done in the past, who he was talking to, what his state of mind was. So I think aside from just the flight simulator data that they're going to look at, there's other computers and other devices within his home that they're going to look at as well. Probably check his email, things like that, to see what his state of mind was.
Tom Fuentes, Joseph Caruso, thank you both for providing insight this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Carol.
I'm back in a minute.